The Concept of Kazi Nazrul Islam About World Literature by Kam Abdul Mumin. The first word. Rebel poet Kazi Nazrul Islam is the national poet of People's Republic of Bangladesh, which emerged an independent sovereign country at the cost of profuse bloodshed in 1971. Those who have studied, appreciated, and absorbed Nazrul literature are well aware of the fact that the discussion about world literature reached the culmination towards the beginning of the current century, and its institutional journey launched in a limited compass with the establishment of its headquarters at the Comparative Literary Department of Harvard University in 2010. Whereas Nazrul's article Bartaman Bisho Sahitya, meaning Contemporary World Literature, written in 1939, almost 81 years ago, when there was neither World Wide Web nor Words Without Borders, provides how he delved into his contemporary world literature, developed his concept, detected the core trends, and grouped the prominent authors accordingly. He discussed their writings and activities like an expert critic with great skill and determined the track of his life and works as the circumstances demanded, to the utter surprise of his readers. Intelligent researchers may find world literature exerting a profound influence of the lives of his life and works at random. When the world of Bengali literature appeared illuminated with the bright rays of Rabi, the sun, in the literal sense, and all the remaining writers seemed dim and delimited in the Rabindra circle, Nazrul pierced the circle vehemently at his glory, which shuddered even the British throne. In every genre of his contemporary literature and culture, he roamed and enlightened like a mighty comet, and revolted everywhere against all sorts of discrepancy, hypocrisy, and oppression. He sang the songs of devastations and creations simultaneously, with a thoughtful spirit. Even at the dawn of his arrival, he drew the attention of his Bengali folk from all walks of life. Thus, his name, Nazar, to mean attention, was reasonable in the real sense. Nazrul drew the attention of his contemporary foremost political figures like Mahatma M.K. Gandhi, Sher-e Bangla A.K. Fazlul Haq, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, Comrade Muzaffar Ahmed, and literary highbrows like Kaviguru Rabindranath Tagore, Rabindranath Tagore, Sander Jadukar, Wizard of Rhymes, Satyendranath Datta, Said Ismail Hussain Shirazi, and influenced the young folk of Bengal with his revolutionary writings, including songs and poems. Even Bangabandhu was not an exception, who admired Nazrul because of his infinite love for the proletariats or destitute folk like peasants, laborers, weavers, fishers, porters, blacksmiths, potters, and so on. The rebel entity of Nazrul inspired Bangabandhu to protest all sorts of exploitations, oppressions, and repressions against Bengalis. Nazrul's revolutionary literature revived the young folk with the rebellious spirit against not only the British colonial rulers but also the autocratic Pakistani oppressors. During the liberation war of Bangladesh, the freedom fighters with best generation of the nation remained always enlivened with the death-conquering inspiration from the songs and poems of Nazrul, and struggled at the best of their life to achieve independence under the leadership of Bangabandhu. At the independence, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, father of the nation and the greatest Bengali of all time, declared Kazi Nazrul Islam as the national poet of People's Republic Bangladesh. Nazrul has contributed to different genres of Bengali literature, such as poems, essays, short stories, novels, lyrics, and plays. He also a singer, musician, composer, music player, music instructor, music director, filmmaker, film actor, journalist, and translator. This rare and versatile genius is only comparable to Rabindranath Tagore, renowned as the world poet and Nobel laureate. Nazrul had an ardent desire to observe the universe, including earth and dust, where he was born, and the heaven and hell, including a holding on the palm. The desire made him a vagrant, offered an opportunity to self-realization, deepened the philosophy of life, and blessed him the keen insight to perceive the real entity of the earth, soil, and humans. He realized that he was not born to live his life confined to a specific geographical territory, and the ostensible lifestyle could not be desirable to him. This romping and reckless child of Burdwan in West Bengal spent the adolescence in Mymensingh of Bangladesh. The prevailing education system did not quench his indomitable thirst for knowledge at all. Besides, the instinctive rebellious entity of him influenced and prompted his entire thoughts and deeds. He studied in maktabs, madrasas, and high schools. Nowhere he studied for long, but he did not ignore to prepare himself for his battle of life. Nazrul learned Arabic, Persian, Sanskrit, Hindi, and Urdu, besides mother tongue, even in his teens. He also studied some masterpieces of these languages. Towards the beginning of his manhood, he participated in the World War I and joined the Karachi cantonment of the 49th Bengal Regiment as an ordinary soldier. Within a couple of years, he became Havildar and discharged the responsibilities as a quartermaster for the battalion by dint of his admiring skill and hard work. By the age of 18, Nazrul earned various experiences while working as muazzin, a school teacher, a play singer, a bucolic versifier, and a bakery cook. As soon as he was 18, he appeared as a soldier at the battlefield of World War I, served there for 4 years, contemporary world-renowned revolutions, including Rus Revolution, Irish Revolution, and Turkish Revolution, influenced him significantly. After his return from the war, Nazrul established himself as a journalist in Kolkata. Nazrul never lost the opportunity of reading wherever he went, be it a bakery or a battlefield. He studied profuse literature, including the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, the Gita, the Bible, the Quran, Hadith, Islamic philosophy, Kalidasa, Kabir, Nanak, Chaitanya, Tukaram, Chandidasa, Lalon, Hasan, Vidyasagar, Rabindranath, Ismail Hussain Shirazi, Sheikh Sadi, Rumi, Jami, Hafiz, Khayyam, Marx, Engels, Gorky, Tolstoy, Shakespeare, Milton, Wordsworth, Shelley, Keats, Byron, Whitman, Proust, and so on. He grasped, chewed, and digested them for further use in his productive writings appropriately. Hence, Nazrul did not confine his thoughts and deeds only to the geographical territory of his motherland. He expanded them all around the world. He sang for the distressed and oppressed of the whole world without caring about the territorial boundaries, religious bigotries, cultural prejudices, and gender discriminations. He exploded the fire of rebellion against all kinds of oppressions, repressions, deceptions, exploitations, immoralities, hypocrisies, and racisms. Nazrul Islam's activism for political and social justice earned him the title of Bidrohi Kavi, the rebel poet. Karl Marx says, "You will rub your conceptual blocks so that they can ignite the fire." So did Nazrul. His Ognivina, the fiery lute, Shamabadi, the proletariat, proclaimer of iniquity, Sharbahara, the proletariat, Jugavani, the message of the age, Rudra Mangal, the violent god, Proloy Shikha, doomsday flame, Bisher Bashi, the poison flute, and Bhangargan, the song of distractions, are glaring examples of it. Here is an extract from the poem Bidrohi, the rebel of Kazi Nazrul Islam, translated by Kabir Chaudhuri. I am the unutterable grief, I am the trembling first toss of the virgin, I am the throbbing tenderness of her first stolen kiss, I am the fleeting glance of the veiled beloved, I am her constant surreptitious gaze, I am the burning volcano in the bosom of the earth, I am the wild fire of the woods, I am hell's mad terrific sea of wrath, I ride on the wings of lightning with joy and profundity. I scatter misery and fear all around. I bring earthquakes on this world. I am the rebel eternal. I raise my head beyond this world, high, ever erect and alone. Sayyid Ali Hassan writes, the Nazrul's Bidrohi is inspired by Walt Whitman's A Song of Myself. Socrates says, know thyself, and Nazrul tried to explore himself and might have studied and received inspiration from Whitman's A Song of Myself. However, the realization and the mode of expression have become suitable and individual to serve their purposes. Here I, the narrator of the poem, Bidrohi, is not limited to the poet in person. The persona has described the conservative boundaries of himself. It has extended from the individual to the cosmos, contrasting to the archetypal self in epic poetry. It has symbolized common folk. If united, they can be mightier than an infinite power. Ravana, what terrible tyrant Jar. Even a god takes no time to surrender before the united humans. A group of humans, let alone humans, burned down Golden Lanka, and ordinary people smashed down the palace of the Jar, striking with their hammers and crowbars. Winston F. Langley appreciates the poem Bidrohi as follows. This poem, through which Nazrul celebrated human creative powers, asserted the information of the individual capacity for heroic action and human unity, solemnly called for rebellion against all forms of oppression, including that of the British in India, elevated him to the status of a national figure. Nazrul ignited fire from the words he used in the Bidrohi. It was a massive explosion in the world literature, let alone in Bengali. What a terrific revolution of an earthly human being. Being blind with rage, the British colonial government proscribed half a dozen of his books, imprisoned him for a year, and created an unprecedented instance of the world. There is no other author in early literature who has got so many books banned for political reasons. While in prison, Nazrul wrote Rajbandi Jabanbandi, or Deposition of a Political Prisoner. Here is an extract from the deposition. I have been accused of sedition. To plead for me, the king of all kings, the judge of all judges, the eternal truth of the living God, I am a poet. I have seen by God to express the unexpressed, to portray the unportrayed. It is God who is heard through the voice of the poet. I am an instrument of God. The instrument is not unbreakable, but who is there to break God? Despite lots of differences, the deposition of Nazrul reminds the apology of Socrates, an illustrious legal defense of historical importance written by Greek philosopher Plato during the trial of the Greek philosopher Socrates. Nazrul then composed a fiery poem, Kararoi Louhu Kapat, meaning tear down those iron gates, for singing in chorus with the fellow prisoners, a dreadful threat against the British colonial government, as if all the prisoners of the world were raising their roaring voices universally against the tyrants. Tear down those iron gates of prison, raise these blood-stained stony altars of slavery. O youthful nation, blow your horn of universal upheaval. Let the flag of destruction rise against the rubble of prison walls. Listen, O mad Bhola, shake the prison with your stormy force. Send your men, play your drums, beckoning death towards life. Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, father of the nation, while evaluating the national poet in his article, Nazrul Bangalir ঐতিহাসিক স্বাধীন সত্তার রূপকার, writes that Nazrul was the rebel entity of Bengal and designer of independent Bengalis. He appeared at the speed of cyclone, as the blazing flame of fire at the fearful night of the oppressed Bengalis, to provide them death, conquering impetus and strong determination in the heart, so that they could struggle with the fiery spell against imperialism, communalism, and suppression for achieving independence. Hence, Nazrul did not create the path. Instead, the path took him by the hand to reach the peak.